Hello, I'm Andrew Wasson from CreativeGuitarStudio.com. I got a fun breakdown of some ideas for the lazy guitar player in this video here. Now, this all came to become an idea for me by way of an article that I had stumbled across when I was just surfing some websites on learning, studying, that kind of thing. And it was a Popular Science Monthly article from way back in 1920, and the author was a consultant. His name was Frank B. Gilbreth Sr. He evaluated at the time the most efficient techniques of people working in the workplace to determine the most effective ways when it came to performing tasks, right? So it's kind of an interesting article. I thought it was quite fascinating, but more than that, what he discovered was really interesting. He found that when it came to learning tasks, it was the lazy people in a workplace who actually developed the best ways of getting tasks done most efficiently. Now, this was based upon the fact that he noticed the lazy people skipped every step of learning something that they considered as needless and unimportant. So they just dropped it out of the equation. And by taking the approach to learning something based upon skipping needless steps, it yielded a faster way of performing jobs. Now, after I read about this, I thought, well, what if we applied this same philosophy to learning the guitar? Now, fair warning here, if you're getting rid of what you just consider as the needless and the unimportant, and you're just shooting through the fastest way to be able to start making music on the guitar, there could be some bad habits that roll in, but you can overwrite them with some quick research and some quick study. Usually it takes longer to overwrite bad habits with good habits, but you have to remember that if there's some things that you start doing on guitar that aren't working for you, well, you can fix them down the road. Now, let's start at the most basic of basic things, just holding the guitar. Because if you're too lazy to study proper sitting methods like the classical guitar sitting method, all that kind of stuff, maybe you don't want to go out and buy a footstool and do all this other stuff. So, you just have to think that, okay, the guitar is not a stationary object like a piano is or something. We hold guitars, very close to us. It's really important to remember that everything begins from the point of just finding a comfortable sitting position. If you can try standing or using a guitar shoulder strap slung around your shoulder that you use for standing with the guitar, it can usually just do the trick and have you in a good sitting position right away. So it's probably the fastest, easiest thing that you could do to just instantly be in a good sitting position. Just make sure that you can see your fretboard, when you're looking down at your neck, and you can see what your fingers are doing when you're getting started. You want to be able to do that. Also, just make sure everything feels comfortable with the way that you're holding your instrument so that you can sit for longer periods of time when you're trying to learn those, strumming patterns and licks and riffs and all that jazz. Well, if you want to cut to the chase and just play something, single note lines are probably the easiest thing to, get it happening with immediately. They're the easiest and quickest ways for even the most lazy guitar player to start playing guitar. So by playing simple melodies, like maybe, like the guitar line from Sunshine of Your Love, that's one I often teach to students. Like that, just simple melody lines like that, or Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. Those kind of riffs are very simple. Also, there's the Peter Gunn theme. You can play that really anywhere on the neck. You could go. Do it any place on the fingerboard that you want, so you can turn it into a simple melodic statement anywhere. All that stuff is just about tracking notes properly. Plus, you can nail down your single note line skills, and if you want to learn popular rock and blues songs, you won't have to start with those boring, cheesy children's melodies like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or, Three Blind Mice, although those are actually pretty good examples of single note melodies that you can learn on guitar. All right, so another easy area, especially if you're super lazy, you don't want to learn any single notes or anything, you just want to get right into strumming and maybe join a band, something like that. If you're lazy and you're just looking for the quickest path really to learning to strum guitar, jump right into learning songs that just focus on chords. Songs that strum chords will keep you motivated too, because you get them fairly fast and you're able to, have that motivation there to keep grabbing the guitar every day, so you get better at your rhythms and everything. The more you have your hands on this instrument, the better you get, obviously. Plus, Plus, strumming songs will introduce you to a whole bunch of new chord types, so another great reason to get into strumming. When it comes to songs like this, though, just pick the easiest ones at first. Typically those are going to be the ones that have 3 or 4 chords or so, and styles like rock and folk and blues, country songs, they tend to be some of the easiest types to start with. For example, one of the songs that I started with when I was just a kid, one of the first strumming songs I ever learned was Knocking on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan. It's just a G chord, and then it goes to D, and then it heads to an A minor, and it kind of starts again same way, G into the D, and then it comes to a C major. So you just have this nice loop, a simple loop of chord changes. It's really easy to get down. Another one that I would recommend too is Stuck in the Middle with You by Steeler's Wheel. It has a really steady groove going on a D chord. It just kind of hammers at, for a lot of the song. And there's a G that kind of comes in there for a minute, and then kind of goes back to the D chord again, and then there's just the turnaround section that happens when you're going through the chorus, where you get this A chord come in, and then a C to a G, and then back to the D chord again. So there's lots of songs like this. There's many, many more strumming songs, and also traditional pieces. You want to keep those in mind too, because they're really good for people who maybe come from a different cultural background and stuff. Learn some of your traditional ethnic songs, because you want to keep in mind that the more famous that a song is to you, and the better you know it, the easier it's going to be for you to get to know and understand the song's strumming structure and the sound. So, if you know a song really well, you're going to be able to play it a lot easier. Now, sometimes the really lazy person wants to just jump on guitar and start soloing. They don't want to play chords, they don't want to learn any scales, none of that stuff. It's just, hey man, I want to play a guitar solo. And so if you're lazy and you just want to begin learning some simple solos and skip all those years of the study of scales and arpeggios and all the music theory involved with understanding the structure of soloing and all that, then there's some basic solos that you can try, and a few that I like showing my own private students would be, well, first of all, the leads from the song Wonderful Tonight by Clapton, and that's a really easy one. It's just, you have this really simple melody. It's just a really easy, simple melody to play. Another one I like teaching, it takes a bit of practice to get it, but it's still very easy, is a solo from the Beatles song Day Tripper. It's just like a 4-bar, really simple solo. Also, there's an REM song I would suggest that you check out. It's called The One I Love. That song's solo is a little more, advanced. It's maybe like about 7 or 8 bars long. I mean, they're really straightforward. They're basic guitar leads that you can get soloing on quickly, and probably learn a lot of the basic, styles of soloing, like getting your bending together, maybe some slide ideas and hammer-on pull-off things, and getting that basic theory of guitar theory together for being able to play leads is a huge, thing that it doesn't take very long to learn. And if you're too lazy to study music theory and scales and key signatures and all that stuff that you would need to do solos, then just learn some simple solos and get some of the basic chops under your belt, and you'll be on your way to doing bigger and better things in no time flat. Okay, so we got to think extra lazy when we get into this thought process. What if you're too lazy to even bother learning how to play the simplest of solos? What if you just don't want to do that even? You just want to learn some kind of chunk of a fretboard pattern and just use that and try and solo on your own. So learning scales, that's often a huge chore for a lot of lazy guitar players out there. They don't want to do it. But even the laziest of guitarists will get a lot of mileage out of just learning how to play through the notes of the 6-string root minor pentatonic scale. This scale is incredibly popular and gets performed in literally thousands and thousands of guitar riffs and songs and solos. It sits in an easy to remember box shape on the neck, and once you have this pattern down, you're going to be able to play lead to a crazy amount of different songs and riffs in pretty much every kind of music style out there, pretty much every key out there. For the lazy guitar player, the minor pentatonic scale is, really going to be the go-to scale. It's going to be the one that you want to get down. All you do is you can take the pattern and look at it. It's a whole step plus a half step on the low 6th string. and then you're going to go just a whole step, whole step, whole step as you cruise through the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. And then when you get to the 2nd string, it's back to that shape of a whole step and a half step. So you're kind of a 4-fret span there, and you're doing that on 2nd string and on 1st string. So, and that's it. That's the shape. It's fantastic. You can get it down very quickly and easily. And you could use it for pretty much anything. In that case, I'm playing it on the 5th fret there off of an A, so it's a minor, so you could have any kind of A minor key center idea. And you could come up with any kind of, portion of that scale as an idea. It's great. You could play anything you want in it basically, and it sounds good. So if you're super lazy, you don't want to even learn any solos out there by anybody else, you just want to maybe kind of make up your own stuff, learn the minor pentatonic. It'll give you tons and tons of mileage on the guitar to be able to go forward and come up with licks and runs and all that stuff on your own. You'd probably be, coming off of different ideas maybe that you gleaned from songs that you've puttered around with in the past, but it is the go-to scale for when you want to just get down some chops for soloing. Well, the last thing that I want to bring up is something a lot of musicians refer to as noodling. In other words, just playing for fun. It's one of the best ways to get good at guitar fast if you're really lazy. You just learn a few chords from songs along with maybe some notes from popular melodies, stuff like that, and you just go forward and begin getting creative with those single note patterns. And the same goes for strumming chords as well. In other words, make stuff up on your own using any of the notes as well as the chords that you've become familiar with. Depending on how naturally creative that you are as a person, and a lot of people who grab guitars and pianos and that, they're usually pretty creative people in general. You can just go and take some of the notes and chords and stuff that you've been experimenting on, right away with just going and making stuff up. Because, after all, if you're really, really lazy, why are you going to go to all the trouble of learning how to play other people's songs? You can just go and make up your own songs instead. Maybe even it'll be more fun. Hey, you got to remember, tons of lazy guitar players have done that kind of thing over time. Some of them have formed some great bands, and some of them have become really famous. So it's all about just having fun with this instrument. If you're starting out on it and you really want to get something happening on it, make some music, and go forward into the future. You can always learn more, polish up bad habits, get better, and who knows, one day you might even become a super high-end guitar player, and that would be great as well. But you got to start somewhere. If you're lazy, go into these areas that are quick and you get fast results from, and out of anything else, it's going to motivate the living daylights out of you. Well, I'd like to end the discussion by saying thanks for joining me. If you want to learn more about what I do as an online guitar teacher, then head over to my website at creativeguitarstudio.com and sign up for your free lifetime membership. There's no obligation. All you got to do is create a username, password, and you're going to get access to the site with your email address and all that. So you don't need a credit card, you don't need anything. And even if you are a lazy person, there will probably come to a point in time when you'll want more, and you'll certainly be able to do that on my website. There's a free membership that you can get started with on the site, and then later you can always upgrade to either a basic monthly plan or the premium annual lesson package, and you can start studying all of the professional guitar courses and content that I've organized for the members of my website. Also, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on all of this lazy guitar player approach and all that in the comments section below. I think maybe you have some ideas to add. I'm sure I forgot a few things or left out things, so definitely add them in the comments section. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Thanks again, and we'll catch up next week for another episode of the Guitar Blog Insider. I've got 25 years experience teaching guitar and have written a well-organized step-by-step guitar course. Head over to my website at creativeguitarstudio.com and sign up for a free membership today. Join the thousands of members worldwide who have already enrolled. There's no need to try learning the guitar on your own. Let me help you become the best guitar player that you can be.